because of the fact that we won the election. Going to create jobs for hundreds of thousands, even millions of Americans. Today I spoke with Tim Cook of Apple. He said they're going to make a massive investment in the United States because of our big election win. And as of today, TikTok is back.
TikTok's back.
So, you know, I did a little TikTok thing. We have a guy, TikTok Jack. He's a young kid, like 21 years old. And we hired this guy, and I went on TikTok. Can you believe what I'll do to win an election? And
welcome, everyone, to the live stream.
We went on TikTok, and Republicans have never won the young vote, the youth vote. They win a lot of votes, but they never won the youth vote. We won the youth vote by 36 points. So I like TikTok. I like it. I like it. I had a slightly good experience.
I don't like it. I think they should keep it banned.
Romney lost it by 40 points. Not so long ago, we won it by 36 points. That's a very big spread. But I said we need to save TikTok because we're talking about a tremendous... Who in this audience goes with TikTok? Many? Yeah.
No, not me. I much prefer YouTube than TikTok.
And frankly, we have no choice. We have to save it. A lot of jobs. We don't want to give our business to China. We don't want to give our business to other people. And I said, you know, TikTok without my approval, meaning the president's approval, because Congress gave the president the right to make a deal, do whatever he wants. And they did that a long time ago when they had a different president. They didn't know that I was going to be the president, I guess. So I said, very simply, a joint venture. So if TikTok is worth nothing, zero, without an approval, you know, if you don't approve, they're out of business, they're worth nothing. If you do approve, they're worth like $1 trillion. They're worth some crazy number. So I said, I'll approve, but let the United States of America own 50% of TikTok. I'm approving on
Just sharing it on the main channel.
So they'll have a partner, the United States, and they'll have a lot of bidders, and the United States will do what we call a joint venture. And there's no risk. We're not putting up any money. All we're doing is giving them the approval, without which they don't have anything. So I don't know. It sounds like that works. What do you think? Good? I think so. So whether you like TikTok or not, we're going to make a lot of money. Perhaps most beautiful of all this
I think they should put American companies first. What do you guys think, everyone?
Ceasefire agreement as a first step toward lasting peace in the Middle East. And this agreement could only have happened as a result of our historic victory in November. That was some victory. Was that great? I don't even know which was greater, 2016 or this one. I think this one. Look, honest
What do you
Abe
guys
Lincoln.
think?
We have honest Abe. We have Uncle Sam. You know, Uncle Sam shook my hand about 2 months ago. He's got the strongest grip I've ever. You are a strong man. I said, what the hell was that? But I'm glad to report that the first hostages have just been released.
No, that's good. That's a win. That's a W.
And who knows?
Biden didn't do that. What took him so long?
I know that Biden is saying that they made the deal well. You know. I mean, that deal should have done. First of all, it would have never happened if I were president. Would have never happened. There was not even a thought of it. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money. They were broke, totally broke, and they would have never done anything. But they did it, you know. I like to think back to the past. I said, if only the election.
Go ahead and type 1 in the chat, everyone, if the stream's working well for you guys.
We're not going to let that happen again. I want to thank my friend Steve Witkoff, who I think is here. I know he made a beautiful speech. I heard he made a great speech. But he's an amazing guy. I said, I got to get myself a negotiator. We have to get a good negotiator. A lot of guys are knowledgeable, but they can't negotiate. They don't have the personality or whatever. and Steve does, and Steve's a great negotiator, very successful
Thanks,
guy.
JW.
But he's our new special envoy to the Middle East for helping reach this great breakthrough, and really couldn't have been done without Steve. Where is Steve Witkoff? Is he around here?
Thanks, Diane.
Because he was so great.
Welcome to the stream.
There he is. Hello, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. What a job. Our incoming administration has achieved all of this in the Middle East in less than 3 months without being president. We've achieved more without being president
That's actually true.
than they've achieved in 4 years with being president. But just imagine all of the good things that we will accomplish together with 4 more years in the White House, and we're going to do a lot of things. You're going to see something tomorrow. You're going to see executive orders that are going to make you extremely happy. Lots of them.
Hopefully.
Lots of them.
Lots of them.
We have to set our country on the proper course. By the time the sun sets tomorrow evening, the invasion of our borders will have come to a halt, and all the illegal border
that's good.
trespassers
Stop the borders.
will in some
Stop people from coming
form or
over the
another
borders.
be on their way back home. Think of it. We've allowed millions and millions of people into our country through open borders. No checks, no vetting, no anything. Millions and millions of people. And lots of those people are murderers. 52% of them killed more than one person. Other than that, they're quite fine. They're nice people. These are rough people. Remember, I used to say these people are rough. And they would say, no,
Rough.
these are illegal immigrants. They're very safe. I said, they're not safe. Look at what's happened with Venezuela, where they're sending these gangs in and they're taking over apartment complexes in Colorado.
That's true.
And then cutting off the fingers of a man who had the nerve and desire to call the police. He said, you want to call the police? Bah, guess what? You have no fingers. These are rough people, and they're getting the hell out of our country. They're out.
Hopefully.
The border security measures I will outline in my inaugural address tomorrow will be the most aggressive, sweeping effort to restore our borders the world has ever seen. You know, we had the best, safest border in the history of our country. You remember that with the great chart that I put up. I don't even know if they have that chart now. Maybe they do. These guys are good. Maybe they do. Who that? I don't know. I didn't tell them I was going to do this. I didn't tell, but we have some very good people, but I didn't say. But we had a chart, and I looked to my right, and then they said, ooh, that hurt. What the hell was that? I still have that throbbing feeling in my ear. Oh, there it is. Look at it. These people are amazing. I didn't tell them I was doing that. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's all over the place. I love that. That is the most beautiful piece of paper I've ever seen in my life.
It'd be good if they could show it. That'd help.
But if you look at that chart, and you look at the red arrow on the bottom, that's the single lowest we ever had in history, at least recorded history, of illegals pouring into our country. We had done a great job, and then they took over, and look what happened. It's like an Elon Musk rocket ship going up. That reminds me of Elon, his rocket ships. Look at that. Look at the difference. And it just continued and continued, and we're taking in people that shouldn't be here. They come in from prisons, from jails. They shouldn't be here. Mental institutions. I used to mention, and the press would always excoriate me, I'd say the late, great Hannibal Lecter came into our country today. Silence of the Lambs. Anybody see that movie? Lovely movie. And when people went to the voter booth, they said, we don't want Hannibal Lecter in our country. The press would say, why is he bringing up Hannibal Lecter? That was a fictitious character. Actually, they're not so fictitious. We have people in our country that are probably worse that we allowed in. But we will quickly reestablish control of our sovereign territory and borders.
Hopefully.
We will expel every single illegal alien, gang member, and migrant criminal operating
It'd be
on
interesting to
American
see if they
soil,
actually do it.
and remove the savage gang Tren de Aragua from the United States. Here's a little video for you to see about this gang. Go ahead.
Open borders fears deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
It'd be nice if they could show the video. Here we go, come on.
In Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about lack of crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
That's crazy. That's insane. That's why California, New York has been going downhill so much.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think they'll actually be able to get rid of the amount of people that they're saying they're going to get rid of?
Wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn.
Yep, never sell you Bitcoin.
Tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman.
Stay focused, people. That's right.
Of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
That's what we allowed in, and they're nice people compared to some of them. They're nicer than others. These are really vicious people, gang members, and many, many people from prisons. And crime all over the world is down. You know why? Because they got their criminals into the United States of America. You look at Venezuela.
Same happening
They've emptied their prisons
in
into
Europe
our
and
country.
Australia.
Many other places the same. I would have done the same if I headed up any of the countries. I know most of those guys are smart. They're leaders. They are smart, streetwise people. As soon as I heard they were going to have open borders, I said, if you do that, every prison all over the world.
Hey, Craig, welcome to the stream.
Into our country. They come in from the Congo. The Congo's big on emptying their prisons. The only thing good about it is they make our criminals look like really nice people. These people are vicious people all over the world, not just South America, all over the world they come.
It's a live stream,
from
Calvin.
mental institutions and from jails and prisons. With our actions tomorrow, my administration will deliver justice for every family whose loved one has been stolen from them by migrant crime, including Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungari, Kayla Hamilton, and every other precious American soul that we have lost to these animals. Their memories will live in the hearts forever, in our hearts forever, and we will never, ever forget them. And their contribution, I told their mothers who were devastated, their parents, their fathers, they're devastated. They'll never be the same. They'll never be the same. But I said, your daughter has made a major contribution. Your son has made a major contribution. There are hundreds and even thousands of victims of this horrible atrocity. And you add those numbers to the
Tell the
numbers
plebs
of
to
crime
keep
that we
rowing this
already gone
tub.
through the roof, and it's something that you
According
wouldn't
to
even
Jim.
believe. Do you remember I did the debate, and I had David Muir from ABC saying, no, crime has gone down. I said, no, it's gone through the roof. Crime has gone through the roof, David. No, crime has gone down. I said it's gone through the roof. And then he goes, I disagree with that. The next day they announced that crime was up like 40%. This guy is, the whole thing is so bad. You can't even imagine how anybody could be for these things of, think of it, open borders, prisons, and mental institutions, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Transgender. And very soon we'll begin the largest deportation operation in American history, larger, even larger than President
Holy
Dwight
flippy flip flop
Eisenhower,
flapping
who
smokes,
has the
welcome.
record right now. And we're going to end the Biden war on American energy and unleash our energy resources to quickly defeat
Yeah, that'd be good.
inflation
Get some
and
cheap
achieve
petrol,
the
some
lowest
cheap
cost
gas.
of energy and electricity on Earth. And we're going to be using our emergency powers to allow countries and entrepreneurs and people with a lot of money build big plants, AI plants. We need double the energy that we already have, and it's going to end up being more than that.
Yes.
And we're going to slash. We're going to slash.
The cameraman's not doing a great job, Calvin.
Environmental regulations that are really put in there in order to stop progress in this
Not
country.
yet, Michael. Wonder if he mentions his Trump coin is going to probably skyrocket.
Bureaucracy. We will create the new Department of Government Efficiency,
Doge?
headed by a gentleman named Elon Musk, who's here someplace. I don't know where the hell he is. He's here someplace.
If he said Dogecoin probably would have gone up a lot too if he mentioned Doge.
Come here, Elon. Did
Ooh,
you see
Elon.
his rocket yesterday? It was captured. And X is with him. X. Come on, Elon. Say a couple of words.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry,
Richest man in the
Alexis
world now.
followed me on the stage here. He's a very enthusiastic supporter, as you can see. Woo! Yeah. So we're looking forward to making a lot of changes, and you know this victory is the start, really. What matters going forward is to actually make significant changes, cement those changes, and set the foundation for America to be strong for a century, for centuries, forever. So.
Dr. Doge back.
And make America great again.
Yeah. America, freedom.
Yeah. So.
That's right. Stay positive, Diane.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna do great things here. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Great friend of mine, Elon.
You know, I always say we have to be protective of our geniuses because we don't have too many, but that one is a good one. Now, I watched his rocket come down about 3 months ago, and I thought it was crashing. I was talking to somebody on the phone. By the way, same thing happened yesterday. It came down, and it was captured so beautifully. It came down, it's tumbling, it's a mess, it's going down. I say, oh, look at that thing, that's a disaster. And then it gets like a couple of miles away from Earth, and all of a sudden the engines start going on, the things start, and then I see it coming in and landing in the gantry, and I'm watching it and I'm saying, oh, it's going to crash, oh, but those engines came out and they blew the fire all over the place. And all of a sudden those two big arms came and hugged it like you would hug your little baby. And that sucker landed it. Nobody's been able to do that but him. And he's a great guy, and we have him and Vivek.
One thing I got to give for
and
Trump
some
is
great
funny.
people working on a thing called costs, and he's got the credibility to do it too. And we're going to do things that are really amazing. But he went out to Pennsylvania after that. He landed that rocket.
That's right,
Nobody
Jim.
had ever seen. By the way, China can't do it, Russia can't do it, or come close. It will be 10 years before they can do it, and the U.S. can't do it except for him. And it's pretty amazing.
You saw
But
Jeff
he
Bezos
did
has a big
that,
fail with his
and then he
his one.
journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. And he's a popular guy, and he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody. All those computers, those vote-counting computers. and we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide. So it was pretty.
I'll
good.
see what the Trump
So
coin
thank you to Elon.
is trading at the moment.
And his son's name, who's cute as a button, his son's name is X. He's the only guy who could get away with the name X.
Oh, it's
But
crashing.
his son is a great guy.
It's
One
down
thing
from
we know,
$75
his
to
son is smart.
$43.
If you believe in the racehorse theory, he's got a nice, smart son. But thank you very much to Elon and everybody. We've had so much help. Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take
see
the
here.
oath of office.
Go ahead and you can see there. It's tanked.
Oh, you're going to
Or
have a
buy
lot
the
of
rumor,
fun
sell the
watching
news.
television tomorrow. Somebody said yesterday, sir, don't sign so many in one day. Let's do it over a period of weeks. I said, like hell, we're going to do it over weeks. We're going to sign them at the beginning. You know that old story. Let's do it later. Then it never gets done. No, we're doing them tomorrow. And we'll have plenty to sign in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not going to stop. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates all across the government and private sector and return our country to the merit system. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that the United States is allowed to go by the merit system, which is what made us great in the first place.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
That was a big,
Who's most
big
qualified?
ruling that a lot of people don't even know about, but it was a big, tremendous ruling. And you're focusing on character, competence, and qualifications in all hiring decisions. Now you're allowed to go by competence and ability and genius. You don't have to hire somebody to send up one of his rocket ships that doesn't know anything about what's happening. As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public
Gold's
remaining
flat at the
records
moment.
relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam.
Sorry, Michael, I don't know your personal situation, so I couldn't advise you, give you direct financial advice.
And I will direct our military to begin construction of the great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will all be made in the USA. And we will get wokeness the hell out of our military immediately and make it like it used to be. Take a look at this.
What did Trump say? Everything woke goes to poop.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry!
Why they play that video?
Happy Pride.
Maybe
Happy
I'll
Pride
bring up
Month,
the
and actually,
bring up the
Let's
markets.
declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer! Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face!
So there's something called Buy the Rumor, Sell the News event.
That's a war face! Now let me see your war
See,
face!
Bitcoin's down.
Bullshit! You didn't get
Gold's pretty much
Let me
flat.
see your real war face!
See what's down the most.
You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are puke. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking
You can see here Trump
You
coins
are nothing but
gone
unorganized,
from
grabastic pieces of
$75
shit.
to $42.
Abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers.
I have no idea what are they even playing here. I have no idea what they're playing. They're not showing it, but it sounds a bit weird. Luckily this channel's not monetized yet. Otherwise, instant demonetization with all the music. But we can see. This is what I was saying. Could this potentially be the 47th president of the United States doing a pump and dump meme coin? Who knows? It's probably just a lot of people that brought it when it was $1. It went to $75. Again, buy the rumor, sell the news. When the event happens, normally people take their profits.
Thank you. So we won 2 world wars with that. And that's the way it's going to be. The American people have given us their trust, and in return, we're going to give them the best first day, the biggest first week, and the most extraordinary first 100 days of any presidency in American history. To implement this historic agenda, I've assembled an all-star cabinet of patriots and visionaries and reformers who will fight for America, and together we will win, win, win for America.
Hopefully for Americans
To
too.
restore the spirit of American Armed Forces, I have appointed Pete Hegseth as our next Secretary of Defense. Where's Pete? Where's Pete? Pete's here someplace. Where is he? Good job, Pete.
On you, Pete.
They like you, Pete.
That's what we'd say in Australia. On you.
Thanks, Pete. They like him. To bring back integrity to our intelligence community, Tulsi Gabbard will be our next Director of National Intelligence.
Nice.
To make America healthy again, we will have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services.
I've started going back to the gym this year, so got to get healthy again as well.
To end the weaponization of our government and restore the impartial rule of law. Oh, this is so important. She's so incredible. Pam Bondi will be an outstanding Attorney General. She's going to do an incredible job. She will do an incredible job, and she's working with another person who's going to be unbelievable at the FBI, Kash Patel. And tomorrow, everybody in this very large arena will be very happy with my decision on the J6 hostages.
Okay, I wonder if he's going to pardon them.
Happy. I think you'll be very, very happy. I would say about 99.9% in this beautiful arena. And by the way, I want to thank the owners of this arena. They are great. They're up here someplace in one of those beautiful boxes. And their team is doing very well, and Ovechkin is a great player, right? But I want to thank Ted and all of the owners for allowing this to take place. It was really great. And thank you. It's a hell of an operation. Great place. Fantastic arena. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, everybody. At Homeland Security, we will have a tough leader in Kristi Noem, and we will have an outstanding Secretary of Transportation in Sean Duffy, Congressman Sean Duffy. Great people. And we're going to win so much that Governor Burgum of the Interior, you know Governor Burgum, one of the best governors in the country, is in charge of Department of the Interior, and the hottest man anywhere in the world for energy. When I announced him, people couldn't believe it. You didn't hear of him, but if you're in the energy business, he's considered the absolute best. Mr. Chris Wright of the Energy Department. He's going to head up the Energy Department. He's the hottest guy, and there is anybody in the energy business. They said, I can't believe you got Chris Wright. And a man named Marco Rubio is going to be our great future Secretary of State.
What do you guys think about these picks? Let us know.
And
in the
Howard
chat.
Lutnick, a tremendous success on Wall Street, is going to be our Secretary of Commerce. They have to go through these drills, but they're going to. And I want to thank the Republican senators. They've been doing great. And John Thune has been doing a great job in moving the process along quickly. We're going to have a lot of them hopefully approved very quickly. And a very special woman, Linda McMahon, is going to be our future Secretary of Education, which we're going to be giving back to the states. Let the state run education.
Yeah, it's a W. It's a win.
I said to Linda, Linda, I'm making you the Secretary of Education, but if you do a great job, you will put yourself out of a job because you're going to be sending it back to the states, and she's fantastic, and her staff.
Education, not indoctrination, is what we need more of.
And all of the other leaders will come to me and they're going to say, do you remember I used to do this for fun? But it's really not fun, it's fact. Because we have to do some of best of, right? But they're going to come and say to me, sir, we're winning too much, sir. We can't take it anymore. We have to stop winning, sir. We can't do it. We're not used to winning in our country. And each one of them is going to say, every single one, sir, please, you're destroying our country. We're winning too much. Our country isn't prepared for this.
Welcome, Michael.
They're not used to winning, sir. And I'll say, no, Linda and everybody, we're not going to stop winning. The people of our country want us to keep on winning, and we're going to go win like never, ever before. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing it, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is having a heart attack down here. Look at him. Uncle Sam is going wild. And they think I pay for these people. I have no idea who he is. All I know is he does. And there's Abe Lincoln. Thank you, honest Abe. I have no idea. I swear, I have no idea who the hell he is. But he looks like Abe. He's probably a little bit shorter, in all fairness.
Trump's just such
Abe
a
was
troll.
6'6". He's a little bit shorter. He's about a foot shorter. Other than that, he's perfect. Thank you, Abe. In addition to the most talented cabinet ever assembled, and we think we're hearing things like that, we will be supported in our mission by countless wonderful American patriots. First, let me thank my incredible family, and I want to thank in particular somebody that headed up the Republican Party, along with Mike, the two of them, Lara Trump, who you saw before, who produced those two beautiful children.
Some Big Macs.
Trump is unbelievable. She was the chairman of the Republican Party, and nobody ever said, oh, gee, it's a family member. They actually said, how the hell did you get her to do it? And she did a phenomenal job. We had a minimum of cheating. We watched them like a hawk. Where is Laura? Where the hell is she? But
Neck's
she did
pretty
some
stiff.
job. See, she wants to be nice and quiet. She's here someplace. Thank you, Laura. Thank you very much, hon. She's phenomenal. The job she did, and her son was up. Didn't they do a beautiful job? The son and the daughter. How many young kids know that one? They don't know that one. But her husband is somebody I'm very proud of. He's doing a great job. He's been subpoenaed more than any human being in history, I believe. Every day he'd get a subpoena from Congress on something, or bullshit. But he'd get a subpoena. He's got a PhD in subpoenas.
For Trump or for me, Jim?
But he did a fantastic job. And Don, you know all about Don, how he did. He's great. He's very popular, too. He knows a lot about guns, I want to tell you that. We had, by the way, I have to tell you, we had great support from every gun group, including the NRA, which really worked hard. And Ivanka and Jared are here, and Tiffany and Michael are here, and Barron and my 10 incredible grandchildren, and another one coming through Tiffany. And of course, I want to thank our next Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Congrats. I think JD's a pretty good pick.
Wherever he may be, there's a lot of people. Wherever the hell he is, he's here someplace. It's a lot of people. It's a little tough when you say, where is he? You know, you got a lot of people in here. But J.D. Vance has been extraordinary. And he's got an unbelievable wife, the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance. So, Usha, thank you very much. Beautiful couple, great people. We're also pleased to be joined tonight by Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. The Hulkster. One thing, it's not hard to find him. All he has to do is stand up and you say, there he is. But he's great. And Kid Rock, wow. Kid Rock is a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine for a long, long time. He did that thing on Budweiser. Budweiser will never be the same when he did the gun with the MAGA hat. That was the commercial that everybody saw. Also with us tonight is a great actor, tremendously talented guy, Jon Voight, who's great, and a friend of mine.
A lot of friends.
And Sylvester Stallone is here.
Oh, Sylvester Stallone.
And you know, I got Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and Jon Voight to become ambassadors to Hollywood, California, to put it back on track.
Need to clean up
so
Hollywood.
They're all ambassadors. You have to refer to them as ambassadors.
They kind of
Mr.
got
Ambassador.
torched.
And a man who's got an army of young people, Charlie Kirk, is here. And I want to thank Charlie. Charlie is fantastic. I mean, this guy, don't believe the stuff when you hear the kids are liberal. They're not liberal. Maybe they used to be, but they're not anymore. You got to see how many people are for us. And I want to thank Megyn Kelly. She's been terrific. She's been really good. And Billy Ray Cyrus. And Lee Greenwood. Wow, has he been something. What a song and what a man. And you know, by the way, these microphones, you see the microphones? I said, what the hell are those microphones doing standing behind me? You're going to have a little special treat at the end of this speech. I don't want to tell you because you'll rush me off the stage. Get off the stage. But you have a little special treat, and I won't tell you, but let's put it this way.
What do you guys think it's going to be?
The people that 30 years ago had a hot song, never hit #1, hit #5. But 30 years later, it hit #1 week after week. And they're here to sing. They're here to sing. For you. And you won't recognize them. They're slightly larger than they used to be, but that's the way life goes. We can all tell you, that's the way life goes. There's nothing we can do about that. Sebastian Gorka, stand up, Sebastian. I see Sebastian here.
In which way do you think Roadrunner?
As a patriot, he's been with me through thick and thin, right, Sebastian? Now he's with the administration. Thank you. Great guy. And again, I want to thank Elon for what he did in Pennsylvania. He worked so hard. He worked so hard in Pennsylvania. A great guy and a man who is a champion. A man who took something from nothing. Everybody said this is something will never work. It's too violent. But he understood people. He said they like violence, unfortunately, right?
Well, people do.
But a man who understood fighting better than any man ever. There's never been anything like this.
Time will
what
tell.
Dana White did with the UFC and building it into a monster sport franchise. So I want to thank Dana White of USC for being here. And Dana, you've done a job like nobody could have done. Thank you.
You definitely did a lot
great guy
for Trump.
And a friend of mine.
Definitely do enjoy watching UFC.
Great friend of mine. He's a
Power
tough
slaps?
cookie.
Probably not.
You want him on your side at all times. Every one of those people you want on your side. And we have dozens of other celebrities and everything, but we're going to get back to what we're doing. But I do want to say, in the audience, we have many governors, many senators, many members of Congress, and other distinguished guests, far too many to name, unless you'd like me to name them. No? You want me to name governors, senators, and Congress people?
Yeah, that's right. It is dumping as we
I thought you were going
speak.
to say that. Sorry, governors. No, but we appreciate all of the love that we've gotten from them. I'll tell you, our House and our Senate Republicans have been unbelievable.
What's the Melania
and the governors
Trump
are
meme
unbelievable,
coin?
the job they're doing. Of the crime-ridden cities, the top 25, every single one of them is run by a Democrat. Does that tell you something? We don't have problems in the Republican cities. Tonight, I also want to send our love to everyone affected by the terrible wildfires raging in California. We're praying for you all. We love you all. We're going to be there very soon. I'm going to go out there on Friday to see it.
Or should I say most expensive?
And to get it moving. I also want to pay my respects to the great people of North Carolina. You know, I won it every single time.
You don't forget about North Carolina. They're definitely being forgotten because they're not
they've been treated
millionaire
very badly.
celebrities.
FEMA almost didn't know it existed. And we're going to get North Carolina rocking and rolling, okay? We're going to get them rocking and rolling. They've been treated very badly as a state. Together we will rebuild Los Angeles better, more beautiful than ever before. We're going to get it going. We have the best builders in the world. It's the only people that could do it. Nobody else knows what the hell they're doing. And in 2028, the Los Angeles Olympics will be one of the great sporting events and patriotic celebrations in history. I was with Gianni, the head of the Olympics, and because of the wildfires, they're going to do a special job. They're going to really do something very special on the Olympics. And the opposite, some people say, oh, maybe the Olympics can't go there. It turned out just the opposite. They came to see me the other day, and the committee, and it's just the opposite. So the Olympics is great. And Johnny, for the others, you know, the World Cup, Johnny is the head of it. We had our top people.
Hopefully they don't do their Last Supper thing again, like what they did in France.
The Olympics, and then I saw Johnny, and we got the World Cup too. And you know, it's only because they rigged the election that I'll be your president representing you there. You know, I got both of them. I got the Olympics, and I got the World Cup. And I said, you know, it's too bad. One was in 2026, and the other was in 2028. And I said, I won't be there. I won't be your president. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for
Australia great again.
And for the World Cup. So, Johnny, thank you for the World Cup. And everybody, thank you for the Olympics. We're going to have a great time. We have another thing happening. 250 years. A celebration like no other. 250 years. And that's going to be taking place next year. So we have a lot of big events coming. And everything we do everything. We take it very, very seriously. But what do we do more than anything else? We put America first. And it all starts tomorrow when I raise my hand on the Bible to be sworn as we'll be sworn in tomorrow. We're all going to be sworn in together. That's the way I look at it. It's not me. It's you. Greatest of all time. So we will be sworn in tomorrow. I'll be representing you as your 47th President of the United States. And just in conclusion, together we're going to cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, getting them back down, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to the USA, right where they belong.
We can go over that in a minute.
Through tariffs and smart policy. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American.
Not H-1B.
I will end the war in Ukraine. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. And you have no idea how close we are. We will crush violent crime in our cities and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military again. We did it. We rebuilt our entire military. And then they gave billions and billions of dollars of it to, you remember, to the Taliban. They gave it to the Taliban. They gave our military.
That's what the CIA does, doesn't it?
A big chunk of it to the enemy.
The military-industrial complex wants to keep on going.
Billions of dollars a year. Do you know this? Does anyone know this? To Afghanistan. Do you know that? And I say, if we're going to pay billions of dollars a year, tell them we're not going to give them the money unless they give back our military equipment that these poor, stupid people allowed for them to have. So we'll give them a couple of bucks. We want the military equipment back. We will rebuild our once great cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And we want to make this city again safe. We don't want people coming to Washington and getting mugged, shot, killed. We're going to stop it. Law enforcement, and they have very good police here, but they have to be allowed to do their job.
Crime's getting out of control all over the West.
We're going to beautify it. We're going to make it the most beautiful capital in the world. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And we will get critical race
Daniel.
theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools.
Yeah, definitely don't teach in schools. You do you in your private life, but don't put it in schools. Especially with young children.
And always remember, this is so easy. This will be done tomorrow. We will keep men out of women's sports. It's over.
Common sense. Common sense.
I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech.
Amen.
And I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. We're going to defend that right. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again, and that will take place tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
It really is a Trojan horse attack with this mass illegal immigration.
Everyone in our country will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and also filled with a thing called the American dream that you don't hear much about anymore.
Bring back the American dream.
For the past 9 years, you and I fought side by side against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. And in our magnificent victory on November 5th, you showed them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, and from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C. Our country was won and built by generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers, coal miners, police officers, and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle stand in their path. Nothing could get in their way. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built the great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and launched American astronauts to the moon. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country.
Yes.
And 75 days ago on November 5th, it was hardworking patriots like you who saved our country. You saved our country.
Now Trump has to deliver
now,
everyone.
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America's promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we all love so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. We will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win.
Not just, but you can't just do it for America. You have to put Americans first. Let Americans win.
America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah,
you
good job,
very
Trump.
much. What a great victory for everybody.
If he
Thank you,
can deliver
America.
on everything he
Thank you very
says,
much.
hey,
Thank you.
he'll be the best president throughout history. But we need to hold him accountable and make sure he actually delivers on all his promises. So that's that, everyone. Let's go ahead and see how the markets are reacting to all of this. Welcome to the live stream, everyone that's just joining, or welcome to the second channel. It's great to have you all here. We'll go ahead and see how this markets react to this. Obviously, it's Sunday in the US, but the markets just opened in Australia. So we'll first go ahead and look at his Trump coin to see how that's going. Wow, we can see here that it has dumped. I'll go ahead and adjust the size here so you guys can see it, see everything. Let's go ahead and adjust this here for you guys. Looks like it was by the rumor, sell the news. We can see 8 a.m. it just dumped, fell off a cliff. There was obviously some insiders that saw a good opportunity to take profits, because remember, with markets, it's all hype and anticipation of what's going to happen. When the event actually comes, that's when a lot of the traders take profits. Now, could this go back up again? Yes, it could, but I just think Trump didn't need to do it. You know, it's crazy that the 47th president is using a meme coin, or using a meme coin to profit off his presidency. It's unprofessional, and I don't think he needed to. He's already multi-billionaire, and it just makes all the accusations that the Democrats were saying about him being going to enrich the oligarchs and make an oligarchy in the United States. It just makes them look right. But we'll have to see. With many meme coins like Dogecoin, it's got a market cap of $52 billion. Some of them can be sustainable, I guess, relatively for crypto. This is in crypto terms, not in fundamental market terms. Maybe it keeps on going up over the next 4 years. Maybe it gets a huge community around it. Cryptocurrency is very, very weird. If this is not an indication that we're at the peak of the market mania, we're not in tulip mania. I don't know what is when the president of the United States is making meme coins. We're definitely close to the top here, everyone. Make Trump coin great again. XRP, yep. I know a lot of people watch Economic Ninja's channel. They're very interested in XRP. We can see it went up to about $3 here. It's down around 7% according to CoinMarketCap. I was an early investor. I remember investing it in 2017, and we saw this huge pump and dump when the SEC went after XRP. It looks like it's going to hit another all-time high like what it did in 2017. We can see it absolutely skyrocketed when they won the case against the Securities and Exchange Commission in November. But again, with these altcoins, they're highly speculative, and it could go to $10, or it could drop all the way back down to 40 cents during the next Bitcoin bear market. So I thought, on this channel, what I want to do with these streams is, because on my main channel, I react to articles in the mainstream media. On this channel, for the live streaming, I can't just talk straight for 2 hours, because I start to lose my voice after about 35 minutes. So we're going to be reacting to some of the big stories, some of the big financial news on YouTube. Daniel saying bond market vigilantes hold the Trump card. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and look at some breaking news now, just to see if there's any big stories coming out. So we can see Trump's inauguration beats funding record as donors line up. Senate Democrats help Republicans pass Riley immigration crackdown. Let's just see this AUD USD weakness won't stop the RBA from cutting in February. I don't think the Reserve Bank of Australia should cut. We're seeing the Aussie dollar tank. We're seeing many currencies around the world tanking at the moment against the dollar, because we know fiat currencies throughout history, they've all failed. And the US dollar is the strongest out of all the fiat currencies at the moment because of their high interest rates, because of the huge amount of debt that other countries are in. And the US has the privilege of being the world reserve currency. So unlike other countries that can just print their currency, or that print their currency, if they do, their currency will plummet. But because the US dollar is a world reserve currency status, they have that privilege where they can print the US dollar, keep on taking on more debt. And a lot of the other countries that take out loans in the US dollar, well, then they have to repay more in their other currency. So let's go ahead and get into some of these stories. I can't see any massive news. Obviously, TikTok is officially banned now. Let's see what the Wall Street Journal is saying on this. TikTok banned behind fire set at a mall with congressman's office, police say. Okay. So the TikTokers are losing their minds because they've lost their drug, which is TikTok. I think it's a good thing it's banned. I think, it's funny how TikTok's talking about the First Amendment. They're a Chinese company. If America goes ahead and create a company in China, do you think they can criticize the government? Do you think they have free speech in China? No, they got to do everything the CCP says. And if they don't go ahead with what the CCP wants, well, China would ban them straight away. So the same thing should be done with the US. They should put US companies first. It's obvious that China is spying on US citizens, Australian citizens. We all know Facebook does this. YouTube, Google does this as well. But when you got a country that may potentially go to war with you, I think it's much more worrying if China does it than the US. Again, obviously, it's not good that the US is doing it, that the CIA, FBI is doing it. But I would trust the US a bit more than I would trust China. So let's go ahead and react to some of these stories that are going on at the moment. Sorry, a big one is Michelle Obama not coming to Trump's inauguration, and a lot of people are upset with her, saying she's a sore loser. Let's go ahead and listen to this story here.
The one and only Kid Rock, who just announced his new 7-city tour starting in March, as well as the Rock and Rodeo. This is going to be happening in May. How you doing, Kid?
What's up, Jesse?
So is this your first inauguration?
No, I was actually listening to your show a little bit before I got in the truck here, and I heard, Michelle Obama's not attending. I would kindly
It's funny, some people calling him Mike Obama. That's right, Peter. Big Mike, how could you? I'll just go ahead and read the chat here, what you guys have been saying while I went over that. XRP down 10%. Yep, XRP is great for move money. It's very fast, but as a store of wealth, it's beyond unproven. Well, yeah, they can just keep on increasing the supply of XRP. XRP, the company still owns a big share of XRP. Why would you want anti-Americans there anyways? That's right.
G'day. Remind her that
Michael?
Years back, when Obama
Kia ora,
was
maybe should I say,
was first
from
elected,
Auckland.
I did not vote for him, but they asked me to play the inauguration, and I played it, and I went. Had a good time. I went for out of respect to the presidency, so I would kindly remind Miss Michelle about that.
I forgot about that, and that's cool, because it's really not about the politics, it's about the office, and you got to respect it. Why isn't Michelle attending? All the other first ladies are.
I don't know. She seems a little angry. She might be, I don't know. If you can't say something nice,
Yeah,
let me hear it.
That's smart for husbands and people on live television. So what happens when you go to an inauguration like this? Are you going to have a vat of caviar?
I don't even know what a vat is.
I had to ask, too. It's like an industrial drum. I've never had a lot of caviar. I don't know if you could fit it all into a vat, but what are you going to be doing there?
Man, we put something together very special. I mean, I've spent so much time on this. When I was first asked to do it, and it was kind of a thing where they're like, can you show up? And
you see a lot of artists that are going to perform at Trump's inauguration, especially ones that were formerly associated with Democratic Party. A lot of their fans absolutely freaking out, melting down.
played a track, do a couple songs, and I was like, respectfully, I'm not interested in that at all. I'd rather help you any way I can. You know, I'm a supporter. And so I came up and I put something together, put it all down on paper to the minute, everything, choreographed, this, and this. They loved it. Of course, we get into it and we're going through, you know, the due diligence to get it done. And, you know, God bless them, here comes the Secret Service, and they're like, yeah, we can't light off fireworks and have big pyrotechnics. And I'm not sure we can have strippers on poles.
Okay, yeah. That's probably not appropriate.
Yeah, especially.
But we still got something very special planned.
All right. Well, I want to see that show. Maybe one day we'll go see that one. You know, you were like a first-generation Trump supporter. I remember back in the day, you were all in early. What do you think now about all these people coming in late?
Yeah, you see that's happening now with people like Mark Zuckerberg that are jumping on the bandwagon now. All these people that were pro-censorship now, all of a sudden they're pro-free speech. You see big flip-floppers coming in now saying, you know, they're all for America first and free speech and freedom of expression. But if Kamala Harris won, I don't think they'd be saying that. They're only sucking up to Trump now, trying to get favors.
You know, at the inauguration, these CEOs, these musicians, how do you feel about that?
I mean, welcome to the party. It's kind of funny watching everybody jump on the Bozak, as we call it. I mean, it's better late than never. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
true.
like people are finding out, you know, really what type of man, you know, that Trump is, and he's a terrific guy, you know, and they know what and you know, plenty of people have known for.
I think the big change was when he was with the assassination attempt, when he took a bullet and everyone saw how he reacted when he got up and said, fight, fight, fight. People were like, wow, okay, Donald Trump is a badass, and that's when they really started to get around him.
For 8 years. I mean, I endorsed him when he came down the elevator because I love the fact that he was not a politician. He was a businessman. And the business of America has sucked for so long. Like, we need someone in here making sensible decisions. Like, it's become about, let's dig on. We can't get any good people to work for this country because all we're going to, like we've seen in these hearings, you know, with my friend Pete Hegseth and others, you know, where they just drill them and like, you slept with so-and-so and you said this drunk at a bar. It's like, so what? We're not electing deacon of the church here. I want somebody smart who can run this country, keep us safe, run it like a business, and you know, make America great again. What can I say? That's
right. You're never going to find someone perfect, and I don't think they should really, you know, make big issues out of things like, oh, he said this was offensive. You know, a lot of people say that, you know, Biden started a lot of wars, or we're seeing chaos erupt out throughout the world in the Middle East, wars erupting. But hey, at least we don't have any mean tweets anymore.
Hallelujah. And everyone is jumping on the Bozak, and that's fine. Better late than never, as you said. My producers, kid, keep telling me it's your birthday tomorrow. Now, I have a strict rule for men that men don't ever wish another man happy birthday. I just don't think it's appropriate.
That's a bit
You know
weird.
what I don't think's appropriate?
Yeah.
If I could say this with all due love and respect, is birthdays, holidays. I've been trying to figure out how to say this for years. I'm going to sound like such a jerk, but I got to say it. I think people will agree with me. Some people like myself, I'm very fortunate. I have so many good friends, so many good family. But man, when you're trying to work or spend those holidays, birthdays with friends and family, and your inbox on your phone, emails and texts is just blowing up all day with happy birthday, it's a little too much. It's a little annoying.
It's kind of first world problems. So there we go. Michelle Obama's not going to be attending Trump's inauguration. She's definitely butthurt. She also wasn't there at Jimmy Carter's funeral. You saw Donald Trump and Obama. They were laughing. They were talking like they were homies. They were boys. They were good friends. And some people saying, well, you know, it's because it's a big club, you ain't in it. And that's probably true to some extent. But that really what it should be about. You know, we can have our differences in beliefs, but we should still be able to have a civil conversation. But where it got to in America, well, if, you know, it was like enemies, like two different countries. If you were a Democrat, if you were a Republican, well, you know, we had to disown you. If you were a Trump supporter, you know, was it Hillary Clinton? Why don't you need reprogramming, or you need to go to re-education camps if you're a Trump supporter? It just went absolutely insane. You know, you can have your political beliefs, so I can have my political beliefs, but we still should be able to have a chat at the end of the day. So what do you guys think about this? Let us know in the chat. And we'll go into our next story here. And this was a very good video put together by CNBC about why Americans can't afford starter homes. We're seeing starter homes disappearing across America. It is becoming impossible to buy a home these days. We're seeing big institutions come in, buying up entire neighborhoods. Some people are saying this is all part of the great reset of you'll own nothing and be happy. We're seeing what's happened with the California wildfires. We're already seeing developers coming in and giving offers to homeowners trying to come in and buy up all the land. And we're seeing all smart LA in 2028 for Los Angeles. And, you know, we saw Gavin Newsom dancing. I don't know if you saw the video, but he was dancing when he's talking about rebuilding LA and all the great plans he has. But again, it used to be the American dream that you would own your own home. And that was a very good thing for retirement. If you could retire and you don't have to worry about a mortgage, or you don't have to pay about paying rent. Because think of it like this: if you're paying $2,000 or $1,500 or in rent right now, in 30 years you're going to be paying because of inflation. It sounds like a lot now, but you'll be paying $5,000 or $10,000 in retirement, and many people won't be able to afford it. So let's go ahead and react to this story here.
Starter homes are disappearing from the United States. In the early 19...
Also, too, let me know if the volume from my microphone and the volume from the videos is good, because sometimes the volume on the microphone might be very low and the sound on the video might be too high.
Starter homes are disappearing from the United States. In the early 1980s, as many as 40% of the new homes built were considered...
Let's go ahead and pause that chart there. We'll go ahead and adjust this here. Wow. So starter home construction, the US share of new homes below 14,000 square feet. We can see here it was around 40% in the 1980s, and it has plummeted to below 10% now in 2024.
Entry level. By 2023, just 9% fit the criteria.
Give it another 20 years and literally no young person will be able to afford to purchase a home, period.
Meanwhile, a slowdown is mounting in the home building industry, which could contribute to the ongoing...
Well, it's about to boom in Los Angeles and California.
...decline of the starter home.
Both housing starts and building permits, which are an indicator of future construction, have slowed down this fall, and it's not just seasonal.
There are over 3 million potential first-time home buyers in the country. They're up against high home prices that keep rising.
What you're starting to see are mini price bubblets in markets that are an hour, 2 to 3 hours from major metropolitan cities.
It is such an unusual market because we have an all-time low of first-time home buyers, but an all-time high of all cash buyers.
So where did all the starter homes go?
It's probably also because, you know, in the 80s, a lot of, you know, kids played outside, where now everybody does everything inside. A lot of people want another room for if they're working from home, a study. They want to have 2 living rooms. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So houses are also getting bigger because people are getting more and more appliances and spending more and more time inside rather than going outside.
A starter home is typically modest in size and price.
It's the most affordable home in any market. If you're in the Midwest, maybe it's in the $100,000 range. If you're in California, a starter home might be in the $400,000.
Peter says with remote work, he sees a trend emerging where young people will be buying inexpensive homes in small towns. Yeah, if you can work from home, like I do, it's great working from home. I don't live in a big city. I live in regional, that's what you call it in Australia, or rural in US. Keeps your costs down. And with the way crime is right now, I would not want to be living in a major capital city.
To me, a starter home used to be a smaller condo, a smaller space, and someone would upgrade maybe after 5 years as they get married or have a family and want to move. But now we're actually seeing that most people are buying their first home as a single family residence and really planning on staying in place.
America's home builders are making fewer of these kinds of units.
If you look at the number of single-family starter homes, those defined as being 1,400 square feet or smaller, we used to supply anywhere between...
You can see this chart here. Yes, it is declining rapidly. And this is what they should do. They do need more affordable options. That's what they're going to try to do with California. Also, too, they should cut regulation. You know, they should let people, if they want to have a tiny home, you guys may think it's a bad idea to live in a tiny home, but it's better to have something rather than nothing than living on the street and being homeless. But a lot of these councils, a lot of these estates, they want to keep their house prices elevated and don't want to approve any construction of affordable housing.
400 and 500,000 units a year.
Over the past decade, builders have put up less than 100,000 homes each year.
Really, by far, the number one reason is the increasing difficulty that many builders have in dealing with zoning regulations.
Zoning laws are set at the local level. These laws can determine the size of each lot in a neighborhood. They can also specify how far a structure is set back from the property line, how tall it is, or how many units are on site. In many cases, these laws create an opportunity for local residents to challenge new development. The residents often raise concerns, like overcrowding of schools and wear and tear on local roads.
A lot of this has to do with density restrictions within local communities. They may not want a townhouse or a condo community coming in, but they absolutely will welcome a single family community.
Because they don't want their property values going down.
Zoning codes are found all around the country. The most restrictive ones are often found in major cities.
Many builders...
See, Washington, New York. Well, if they're all for, you know, the poor instead of the rich, why are they not approving affordable housing in New York, Washington? We can see here Seattle, Tampa, Miami, Detroit.
Are not leaving money on the table. They are just simply unable to build, or it's become so expensive to build that they can only build high-end single-family and high-end multifamily.
Given the high price of land, labor, materials, it's very difficult for big home builders to build the entry-level homes.
Well, that's a good point, and that's true with all the expensive permitting process, with all the huge red tape, bureaucracy, all the councils and the mayors trying to fill their pockets. It's making it very, very expensive for builders, and they simply won't make enough profit to build these tiny homes. We need to make it profitable and easy and less regulation for these builders to come in and build these starter homes.
Are a couple who specialize, like D.R. Horton, which has an express homes division, which specializes in starter homes. But for medium-sized builders, it's just very expensive in order to pencil all the costs they have and make it affordable to that lower-end buyer.
As a result, home builders and first-time buyers are targeting further-flung locations.
We've definitely seen a trend toward purchasing a home further from the urban core. So you do see a lot of new construction in suburbia and exurbia.
Home values are now rising most rapidly in low-density and rural areas. Experts say that relaxing these codes could lead to higher levels of home building and preserve affordability.
You know, for example, in San Antonio, there's some builders that are building sub 1,000 square feet single-family detached homes, right? Which would have been almost unthinkable just a few years ago. So the market is reacting, but its response mechanism is really limited because of the rules of the game.
And so that's why they need to deregulate.
Some areas with less restrictive zoning codes are welcoming many newcomers. For an example, see Metro Atlanta.
Home is in Atlanta now. I'm currently in Decatur, Georgia, which is right outside of the perimeter, so I have easy access to the city. It gives a little bit more of suburban-ish kind of feel. It's just the culture, the energy, the aesthetic, the environments, a more elevated experience in day-to-day living, honestly.
Lillian Mantaya is a filmmaker and entrepreneur. She was in line to buy a home in the Baltimore area in 2024, but that plan fell through. Since then, she's moved to Atlanta to live with her sister and come up with a new plan.
I did grow up in Baltimore. I gave Baltimore a shot in my adulthood with my children, and I did the 9 to 5 and, you know, attempted to buy a house there and everything. But Baltimore wasn't providing just the life lifestyle, resources, community that is needed for me to thrive. And Atlanta has been able to kind of just support me more.
Experts say that more dense forms of housing could have helped first-time buyers, particularly in crowded areas.
We do know that local communities are trying to address the lack of housing inventory in pretty unique ways. So accessory dwelling units is certainly a popular approach right now. That's one solution, but I think we need to be looking at adaptive reuse as well. So looking at vacant hotel motels, looking at vacant residential malls, and how do we bring residential housing units into those areas?
Much of the new construction since 2020 is in luxury apartments, with units that are not for sale.
The recent boom in
That's right. So because everything's becoming so expensive, instead of them making affordable, smaller homes, they're making luxury high-end homes, which they really do need an option for that young couple or that young man or woman to just get into the housing market, start building equity in their home, and then they can upgrade from there.
Multifamily construction has been on the higher luxury end, but it's easier for multifamily developers to get in and pencil that many apartments because they're renting them, and rents have been very high.
Finances are a big barrier for first-time buyers. The premium paid to buy a home...
Let's have a look at this chart here. Well, okay, buying versus renting. So we can see here estimated mortgage payments versus rents. Now, because interest rates are so high, it is just so much more expensive to own a home right now compared to renting. And what you've had is you've had home prices in some areas double, but not only the home prices have doubled, but your interest rates have gone from 3% to 7 or 7.5%. So house prices have doubled. On top of that, repayments because of interest costs have doubled. And this is simply unsustainable, everyone. And why I think in 2025, we're going to see a big housing correction. I'm not saying it's going to crash 50%, but we've got to see a big correction in the market because people simply cannot qualify for a home loan anymore.
Home has increased sharply relative to renting over the past decade. The increase...
That's right, Jim. Cost of land, labor, material regulations is too hard to see a solution. Well, that's why they need to deregulate and they need to incentivize people to get into the construction industry.
Increases in home prices have also outpaced increases in wages. As a result, home sales are down across many markets, and the median age of the typical first-time home buyer has climbed to 38.
Wow, 38 to buy your own home. You've nearly halfway through your working career and you're just getting into the housing market.
That's up from age 29 in 1981.
Just thinking about
Molly Brown, she got to say a mall house sounds really cool. They are converting a lot of malls into apartments now as well. And that's maybe something they could look at doing more. You might not like it, but it gives more options and it brings it gives some options for some people that just want to get into the housing market.
all of the headwinds that a 30-year-old may have, like student loan debt and car loans and credit card debt, and then they have rising rent. And so keeping that all in mind, it's hard to save for a down payment when housing affordability is really out of reach.
The problem is you have the most demand on the low end of the market because affordability is so rough right now, but you also have the least supply on the low end of the market.
The average price of homes has increased rapidly too. Nationwide, home prices have climbed over 52% between January 2020 and October 2024. Adding to the burden, mortgage rates have returned to their standard historical range, near 7%. Homeowners with a mortgage are paying 29% more than they would if they rented the same house.
That's absolutely insane, everyone. So you're probably also getting a lot of people that are just renting right now, waiting for prices to come down or waiting for interest rates to come down until they get into the market. And I think that could be a play. I don't see housing prices in general. Now remember, some markets will still skyrocket because the US isn't just one market. The whole country doesn't go up in one line together. Some states will do good, and in those states there's markets within towns. There's different markets. There's a good part of town, the bad part of town. But I don't see a big housing boom in 2025.
Dynamics like that are shutting out all but the highest income Americans out of the market, at least on average.
We're seeing first-time home buyers come into the market using inheritance, using 401k or stocks, cashing those out, combining all of these resources, and actually making an all-cash purchase.
Wow, okay. So people selling their stocks, they're using their 401k. In Australia, we call it superannuation. They're using their retirement funds to get a house. Now imagine if we had a housing crash like 2008 where they put all their eggs in one basket, or maybe something happens in that town where they're brought, maybe crime goes up through the roof, maybe there's a natural disaster like in Los Angeles, and that one asset that they have plummets. This is a recipe for disaster. Yes, that's right.
Investors are buying homes too, but economists saw their shares jump to an all-time high in 2020.
Wow, look at this. Share of single-family homes purchased by investors. Now, what I think they should leave investors to buying big apartment complexes. I think, for big hedge funds, I don't think they should be able to buy single-family homes because nobody can compete with them. They've got unlimited amounts of capital, like BlackRock that has $12 trillion under management. You've got other big hedge funds, superannuation funds in Australia. Leave them to buying big apartment buildings. They don't need to buy single-family homes because at the end of the day, people do need a roof over their head. It is an essential need. So they should leave it to mum and dad investors. Maybe they can have a few investment properties. But I don't think you should let one institution come into a neighborhood and buy tens of thousands of single-family homes.
24. Still, they make up a tiny fraction of the overall housing stock.
The issue of large-scale investors is really not an issue. If you look at their share of the market, it's only 1% to 2%. However, if you look within fast-growing markets, particularly those that are affordable, and in the South, those entities are making it a little bit more difficult for buyers to purchase. Having said all that,
that's right, because there's a better yield there in the affordable markets. And this, again, is worrying trend. Yes, they're saying it's only 1% or 2%, but that is growing. But like he said, it's much a high concentration in housing markets where it is cheaper because there's a better rental yield, better yield on your cash.
If there was a normal amount of supply and we didn't have the shortage, this would not be really an issue.
With elevated prices on the market, today's buyers may need to rely on outside help to finance a home.
I think it's increasingly difficult to buy that first home if you don't have help. You know, in a more affordable market, it's $400,000. That means you have to come up with $80,000 in down payment.
Okay, let's have a look at here. 2025 home price $400,000, down payment $80,000, 7.14% interest. Your monthly payments $2,173. Total interest $480,000. Total out of pocket $862,000 for a $400,000 house. And this is in the affordable, cheap areas. There's many areas which are much more expensive than this.
If you assume the typical conventional loan, it's really difficult to come up with that down payment. So we do see in the data increasingly more consumers getting help, whether that's from their parents or from down payment assistance programs.
There are over 2,400 down payment assistance programs nationwide. Depending on your income and where you live, the aid can be substantial.
I haven't purchased a home yet, and I've been in the process of purchasing a home. But being in this process, I definitely have more of a optimistic, I guess, perspective with home buying now. And I just talked to a realtor here, and she even told me that you are able to purchase a home even with a credit score of 500 and something.
What? So they're telling people with low credit scores, go ahead and buy the most expensive housing, or the highest inflated housing bubble in US history, close to 2008. Oh my goodness, they're telling people with low credit scores to buy. I don't know, does this sound familiar, everyone? I think I've watched this movie before. What do you guys think?
So I think it's just a matter of taking the initiative and knowing that you can be a homeowner.
Regulation.
Regulation at all levels of government affect how homes are built. Experts say they're holding back new construction.
This crisis is worsened by various factors, including rising construction costs, regulatory burdens, and limited availability of buildable land.
There's definitely excessive regulation, a lot of inefficient local zoning.
The zoning codes really originated nearly a century ago, and it made sense at the time. However, since then, there's been an increasing thicket of layers that have made it increasingly difficult for builders. This is sort of the concern, unfortunately, with policy. is sometimes you have to think about in advance things that can go wrong. Like, so think about zoning. Like, it made sense in the 1900s to begin in New York City. It made sense if you needed meat packing plants to be a little bit away from residential areas, but you take that to an extreme and out of New York City and into middle America, and then it causes problems.
Regulation at this point can make up 25% of the builder's cost to build that home. And
What? 25% of the builder's home is just all red tape, bureaucracy. It's all the councils, it's all the cities taking money for themselves. That is absolutely insane.
there is a lot of talk of deregulation, especially under the new Trump administration.
Until more housing is built, prices are expected to keep marching upward quickly.
The willingness and desire for homeownership amongst renters, particularly younger renters under the age of 35, is very high. However, the problem is the obstacles are also just as high.
That's right, everyone. So there you have it. Why Americans can't find starter homes. A lot of regulatory issues. A lot to do with high interest rates. House prices are at the highest levels. Interest rates are at the highest levels. And we saw they're trying to get some people with low credit scores to buy houses at all-time highs. So that is a recipe for disaster. I'll read some of you guys' messages in the chat. They could have a law that says any individual entity, including its subsidiaries, can only own, say, 100 housing units. I think it was a huge apartment complex. It's not a big issue, but yeah, if you're buying 100 or 1,000 single-family homes in smaller cities, that is a big issue. Jim says could play out like the UK from 1996, 25% drop in price, 50% when inflation adjusted. Peter, imagine if BlackRock wasn't allowed to own one entire residential housing block. Yeah, that's right. So I think we're definitely going to see a big housing correction in the US. These, again, house prices in some areas have doubled, but the interest costs have gone up 250%. People simply aren't going to qualify. Once the big hedge funds see that there's no more money they can squeeze out of this housing bubble, they'll go ahead and start offloading homes, and that's when I think we'll start to really see things correct. But again, they need to adjust the zoning laws and get rid of all that red tape that makes it much cheaper to build affordable homes, and somehow make it profitable for these builders and incentivize these builders to build these starter homes, because right now they're not incentivized to build these starter homes. So let's go ahead and get into our next story. Let's go into this: a day in the life of an insurance adjuster after the LA fires. It's going to be very interesting to see how much of an insurance crisis we see after these LA wildfires, because again, every single day we're seeing the costs go from 50, 100, 150 billion. Now some people are estimating it's going to cost $250 billion to rebuild. Now again, that's in today's numbers. I'm sure building costs are going to skyrocket over the next 3 to 5 years, because everyone's going to be going there to build these homes. There's not going to be enough workers. There's not going to be enough materials, and people are going to start price gouging. Now, of course, they'll try to regulate as much as they could, but if they can't make a profit, the workers aren't going to come. They're not going to buy the materials, so there's going to be big price increases. So let's go ahead and look at this next story here, everyone, or watch this next story. Welcome to the stream, Frank.
The Los Angeles fires are still burning, but homeowners are already rushing to file insurance claims.
Standing on a wreckage like this, I'm just sort of...
Absolutely insane. And they really need to build homes that are more fire resilient in California and Los Angeles, like what they do in Victoria, because a lot of these homes just went up in flames so quick.
Like piecing together room by room, how much is each room gonna be? I see here is a master bathroom. That's gonna be probably 25, 30,000.
Yep, 25, 30,000 at least.
Ansi Viljanin is a public insurance adjuster. He negotiates claims with private insurance companies on behalf of the policyholder. Today, he's starting to calculate the scale of the loss line item by line item.
This would be a living room. This wall right here, do we have drywall or do we have plaster? So if it's plaster throughout the whole house, again, it's a lot easier to rack up the estimate. We have a kitchen here.
So what we see there, Plaster, $10 per square foot. Drywall, $3 per square foot.
Extra throughout the whole house. Again, it's a lot easier to rack up the estimate. You have a kitchen here. It's almost like a treasure hunt of trying to find the most expensive bits and pieces.
Public adjusters try to get their clients more money from insurance companies, and they take a percentage of the payout.
A lot of people think that it's burnt down.
Well, it's going to be booming business for him.
It says $1 million on my policy. Now I'm going to get $1 million. Unfortunately, not how it's going to work. We had one where a house was burned down to the slab. It's insured for $1.9 million. And then the carrier comes in and says, well, here's $600,000. That's really where the public adjuster then comes in and points out those bits and pieces that are missing. What we're seeing right now is as bad as it gets. It's probably gonna be 2 years before we can even break ground.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally went forward there. So yeah, 2 years before they can even break ground. So, Gavin Newsom's, he's dancing on his little interviews talking about how much money he's going to make with the rebuilding process. They're saying it's going to be 2 years before they can even break ground. And many people are saying it's going to take decades for them to get back to where they were before.
Baby box over there, that's a family heirloom. We didn't know where we might go, so we got a tent over there.
Access to the affected areas is still heavily restricted, but some residents are trickling back into the neighborhoods to see if their homes are still standing. Phil Johnnon went with one of his clients to inspect
these absolutely apocalyptic scenes. Looks like, doomsday here, what's happened, ground zero. This is absolutely catastrophic what's happened here in Los Angeles.
Damage.
I can't believe it's here. It's here, man.
Well, okay, looks like this guy's house is in a lot better condition than everyone else's.
It's so amazing that it's still here.
He's very lucky.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us here. And this is the only house that survived.
Wow.
Talk about a close call. Embers.
What is this?
Embers.
That? Stain marks.
I wonder what material his house was built out of, or if he had some kind of sprinkler system to prevent his house from burning down.
Well, finding your home still standing is a huge relief. These claims, where the damage is primarily from smoke, pose a particular challenge.
This is going to be one of the more technical insurance fights. If it was up to us, yeah, I could hash this out in an afternoon. The insurance world, that's not how long it takes. The last dollar will not be paid for at least another year and a half, especially on these partially damaged houses. For Jorge's family, obviously, the most important thing is to now just be in housing. The reality of it is, you're homeless, but you're still paying mortgage. And you're hoping that your additional living expenses coverage from your insurance policy still has enough money. And it's going to be really, really hard for people to have staying power to come to the point where you're able to reconstruct.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. A lot of these people, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything, but they still got to repay the mortgage. Now, hopefully the banks will be able to put on a mortgage moratorium, or they'll be able to delay their mortgage payments, but a lot of these people are not going to be able to afford to pay their mortgage and then have to go rent somewhere else. We're seeing, like I showed you with my other stories, where rents are going up 100%. Landlords are doubling their rents because they know these people are desperate. The government, the councils are trying to get in to prevent that. But a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to pay for 2 residents at once.
The cost of insured benefits could reach $30 billion, according to one estimate from Morningstar DBRS. It's putting pressure on an already strained system. Before the fires, some private insurers cut coverage for thousands of people in wildfire-prone areas. New regulations will prevent insurers from abandoning these neighborhoods completely, but they will also allow companies to raise rates.
Well, it's going to be very, very expensive in these areas. And like they said, a lot of the insurers pulled out. 7 out of the 12 biggest insurers pulled out of these areas that are such fire prone. And if they force them to stay, well, the costs are going to be catastrophic, because these insurance companies aren't charities. They've got to make a profit. And a lot of people are going to have higher insurance costs than maybe their mortgage.
The president of the Personal Insurance Federation of California, an industry trade group, told the Journal that rates will probably go up, but the new regulations should stabilize premiums.
Like 10 years from now, is this whole valley going to be built? Who knows? So there's a real possibility where maybe this guy builds, this one doesn't, that one doesn't. We, as public adjusters, we're wanting to have the conversation. How are we going to exit out of this situation? Are we going to sit tight? Are we going to move out of state? Do we need to sell perhaps to a developer? Do we try to weather the storm, keep paying mortgage, hold on to the construction money for 2 or 3 years, and then rebuild after we've gone through the whole hassle of getting that money in the first place?
That's right, everyone. Look, that's crazy. The entire neighborhoods are burnt down. Many people simply aren't going to be able to afford to pay their mortgage, pay their rent. We're already seeing developers come in and lowballing these people. And unlike, like I said, that Gavin Newsom is saying he's going to rebuild hype warp speed, this is going to take 5 to 10 years to get back to what it was before. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. So what do you guys think about the situation that's happening in California? Drop it in the chat below. Now, for all my Australian viewers, let's have a look at this story. A lot of people are looking at the Federal Reserve, hoping they'll cut in February, but they may not be able to cut in February because of the Aussie dollar crashing.
Implications for the Reserve Bank and the path of interest rates here. So what are the implications for the Reserve Bank and the path of interest rates here in Australia? Joining me now is Paul Bloxham, the Chief Economist for Australia and New Zealand at HSBC. Paul, thanks for your time. The job numbers this week, much stronger than expected. Some economists think the RBA could be cutting rates in February. What's your view?
For my American viewers, the RBA is the Reserve Bank of Australia. It's the Australian Central Bank, like the Federal Reserve. Now, for those in the US who don't know, Australia's currency has been absolutely tanking. We'll go ahead and bring this up. We can see here $1 US now gets you $1.61. We'll go AUD to USD. It wasn't long ago that it was 70 cents, but it's now plummeted to 62 cents. It did go down to 61 cents. So this is what I'm talking about with a foreign debt crisis and with foreign currency crisis.
We think that they're unlikely to cut interest rates in February, and the employment numbers that we got this week were a contributing factor to that view. We had that view beforehand, but they were, as you say.
So unemployment rose to 4% from 3.9%. About 50,000 jobs were created in Australia in December. Normally that is a strong hiring period, so that's definitely not looking good. And again, it's not about how many jobs you're creating, it's about how many good jobs you're creating. You can create, 100,000 fast food jobs of people working at McDonald's, but people aren't going to be able to earn a living wage working at McDonald's. We need good, high-paying jobs.
Stronger than expected. I think for the jobs print that we got this week, we could say they were both strong, and there are signs that the labour market may no longer be loosening, that it might now be tightening. So they were strong. Employment was stronger than expected. The employment to population ratio got to its highest level ever. The participation rate rose as well.
Okay, participation rate up. That is good. But again, this is probably because a lot of people will be coming out of retirement. A lot of people can't afford the dole anymore. Dole bludgers, it's a tough career they're in right now with inflation. A lot of mothers that may have been stay-at-home mums, and they're now forced to go into the workforce just because this cost of living crisis is so bad.
And so all round, I think there were pretty decent numbers. But in addition to that, if you look into the detail, although the unemployment rate edged a little bit higher, which is true, it's still below the peak level it reached in July. So it reached 4.2 and it fell to 4 by December. So it's still very low as well, in the sense that it hasn't really risen very much over the past couple of years. 4% is a historically low unemployment rate. And then if you go into the detail, the underemployment rate has been falling and the youth unemployment rate have been falling. And these are two pretty timely indicators. They're the more cyclical parts of the labour force survey, telling us that the labour market is tightening up. If it's tightening up, then it's not going to keep putting downward pressure.
A lot of Uber jobs. And look at this. Part-time jobs surged by 80,000, but you're not going to be able to make a living wage working part-time. It's a big hassle if you have to work multiple jobs, and you're not going to be able to afford to buy a house on a part-time job.
Pressure on wages growth and inflation, and for this reason we think the RBA is not likely to cut interest rates in February.
And how do you explain the fact that 56,000 jobs were created during the month, but the unemployment rate lifted?
Well, I mean, that's another sign that things are actually quite strong as well, oddly enough. When the unemployment rate
We all know that the real unemployment rate's much higher, but they play with the figures.
rises, it doesn't normally give you that result. But yes, lots of jobs created, 56,000 jobs, but it turned...
Okay, so let's look at the stats here. Employment 56.3, unemployment 4%, underemployment 6%, participation 67.1%, monthly hours worked 0.5%.
Turns out that there were a lot of labour workers available and more people entered the labour force, such that the participation rate got to its highest level on record. So, that's another sign of a strong labour market. Lots of job creation, but lots of workers available to meet that demand.
So in other words, big population growth, lots of migrants coming to Australia.
Oh boy, that's another issue. That's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down. Australia saw its biggest population growth in history. It was crazy. It was insane how much the Australian population grew. For a population of around 25 million, there was 1 million migrants, the size of Canberra, or some other small cities, the size of Tasmania, was immigrated to Australia. Absolutely insane. And this is why we're seeing so much congestion in the cities. This is why I don't live in the cities. It's too congested. It's too overcrowded. There's too much crime. They're lying to you. Diversity is not our strength. Humans are territorial. They're tribal. You see these people that immigrate to the country, they go to their own communities. Yeah, not saying anything bad with that. But when you have a cost of living crisis, when you have a housing crisis, it's not the time to ramp up immigration. Luckily now they are reducing the amount of people that are migrating to the country, but it's still not enough. All for people coming to the country to better themselves, have better opportunities, but now is not the time. We have a cost of living crisis and a massive housing crisis. I watched a report on Bloomberg. Sydney and Australia had the lowest vacancy rate for rentals in the world. And again, the second most expensive housing bubble in the world. So this is just absolutely insane.
And they seem to be finding work.
Well, that's part of the story. I mean, it's not just the migrants coming in and being workers. It's also the domestic population. So, when you've got a participation rate that it's its highest level ever, I think you've really got, a pretty positive story in terms of the overall labour market.
Yep. So there you have it. I don't think the Reserve Bank should cut in February because that's going to cause the Aussie dollar to tank. And we're going to see the Aussie dollar go from 60 cents to 50 cents if they do start cutting interest rates. And that's what's really bad for the Australian economy. Normally, throughout other recessions, they would be able to cut interest rates to boost economic growth. But now what they're going to do, they're going to cut immigration. They're going to have to keep interest rates on hold. And once the housing market, which is the biggest asset that most Australians have, once that goes down, that's when we're really going to see the Australian economy go down. So now let's look at this. Biden's team, this next story here, Biden's team is determined to inflict as much damage as possible before leaving office. We've seen this since we're seeing immigrants flood the country before the border shuts. We're seeing wars break out in Syria. We saw the Assad regime fall. We're seeing things escalate around the world. So let's go ahead and see I haven't watched this video yet. I'll react to this live of what Biden is doing now.
Clear. Joe Biden, though, he is still, for a few more hours, Let's be clear. Joe Biden, though, he is still, for a few more hours, the president. And he and his team are clearly determined to inflict as much damage as they can before they leave town. I mean, you're not going to believe this one. On Friday, the administration unilaterally declared that something called the Equal Rights Amendment, a feminist cause for 100 years that was most recently resurrected in the 1970s, was now law.
Today, I affirm the Equal Rights Amendment to have cleared all the necessary hurdles to be added to the U.S. Constitution now.
Now. Think about what you think about.
The Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land now. It's the 28th Amendment to the Constitution now.
Yep, he just apparently declared it law of the land now and said it was part of the Constitution because apparently that's how things work in our democracy. And gosh, what a precedent he's setting for Donald Trump here. But anyway, Joe Biden's reasoning around the Equal Rights Amendment is that enough states had ratified it once upon a time. And despite this ratification not happening within the necessary time limits, well, he's the president. And he'll damn well tweet out and say whatever the hell he wants. This is, of course, total Banana Republic, Alice in Wonderland stuff, where the Constitution says whatever the president says it says. Nothing more.
The last thing you want them to do is to change the Constitution. Whenever they change the Constitution, it's not normally for a good reason.
Nothing less. And in a way, it's also kind of hilarious. I mean, everyone knows Joe Biden has completely lost it. Even the New York Times, which enthusiastically participated in the gaslighting of the world over Joe Biden's mental condition, is now admitting it and writing about it and reporting on it.
That's what the most craziest thing was for me. We saw how Biden was deteriorating so rapidly, he couldn't even put a sentence together. We could see he was seeing ice cream trucks and wandering off and going to get ice cream. He was shaking people's hands that were dead. He's talking about people that have passed away that were in attendance at his rallies or at his speeches. He was so clearly not medically fit to be president, but they tried their best until the last minute. You saw what happened before they endorsed Kamala Harris to be the Democrat nominee to run for office. Up until then, they're saying, you know, he's the most switched on, the brightest president throughout history. It was absolutely insane, everyone.
On it. And so everyone's pretty much decided to ignore it. Now, Kamala Harris tried to back Biden up with his Equal Rights Amendment declaration on X, but was quickly community noted to oblivion, with users pointing out that no, the president cannot just declare the Constitution amended, and noting that the National Archivist, who is in charge of what is officially in and not in the Constitution, has confirmed that the Equal Rights Amendment was not ratified and that, thus, there is no so-called 28th Amendment. I wonder if these community notes, by the way, are the reasons why the left absolutely hates X and Elon Musk.
Oh, for sure they do. They only like it when they can fact check when it suits them, but when the community's notes are community noting them, they don't like it at all.
So much because they can't control the narrative. Well, anyway, speaking of Kamala Harris, let's finally check in on the biggest bullet dodged this side of Butler, Pennsylvania. Seen here addressing her staff in a farewell address with her husband, Slappy Doug Emhoff, and mangling Dylan Thomas's famous poem, "Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night."
And our work is not done. And as you all know me, because we have spent long hours, long days, and months and years together, it is not my nature to go quietly into the night. So don't worry about that.
Oh dear. And she also, of course, thanked her team while ultimately really making it all about her.
I am fully aware that I am the public face of a lot of our work. And so
What a simp this guy is. What the... definitely a beta. It's funny how she said, we've been working for years. I've been working for years for you guys. She was only the nominee for a few months.
I have the benefit of running into people all over our country who thank me.
I don't know about you guys, but you think she looks drunk?
And I will tell you, I am fully aware that when they are thanking me, they are thanking our team, for the extraordinary commitment that you each have.
She looks absolutely wasted in this video. This is insane.
And as a team have.
Unburdened by what has been. Thank goodness. So there you have it. Biden's team determined to inflict as much damage as possible before leading. And Kamala going out with a bang there. She definitely looks drunk, probably on the wine there. So there we have it. A lot of interesting stories today. Is there anything else you guys want me to cover for this live stream before we go off? We've been going now for a couple of, what are we up to now? Nearly 2 hours. But this is what I plan to do on this channel, is I plan to do these live streams for about 1 hour to 2 hours. On the main channel, we're going to keep it very high quality. We're going to just speak mostly finance on the main channel. Here on this channel, we'll talk about politics. There will be crossover, like I talk about what's happening with the starter homes in the US. But in order for me to do 1 to 2 hour videos, instead of reading, because I can't read for 2 hours because I'll lose my voice, especially with high energy, we'll be reacting to these news stories that are trending on YouTube. And also any breaking news. Like, for example, if I'm doing this video and something crazy happened in the market, I'll be able to react to it live. So go ahead and read the chat here. Dev, she stole quietly into the night from Independence Day movie with Will Smith. Those people clapping like seals don't even know what they're clapping for. That's right. Molly, I would dig a gold mine. Okay, I'll go ahead and just quickly check the news here to see if anything is breaking at the moment. Is China ready for Trump 2.0? Gold edge is lower and possible technical correction. Trump, Apple CEO Tim Cook spoke, teases USA investment. TikTok is back. Trump teases future of social media app. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a good idea to ban TikTok. If American companies went to China and tried to dominate China's market, they would regulate it. They wouldn't let American companies have free speech in China. They wouldn't let American companies criticize the CCP. But it's funny, you're seeing the TikTok CEO saying, well, we deserve to have the First Amendment. Well, no, you're a Chinese company. You don't deserve to have the First Amendment. And they should put American companies first before Chinese companies. And it'll be a benefit for YouTube, for Facebook, for Meta, to put them first rather than TikTok first. And we've already seen the big issues they've had with TikTok, with ruining people's attention spans, and they call it brain rot, where it's literally rotting people's brain. People are so addicted to just constantly scrolling on their app. They're saying Melina coin obliterates Trump. Is there actually a... I'll go ahead and look it up. Is it actually a thing? And is it even created by her? Alan, TikTok, China trance. I can't see anything on this Melina coin. Let's go ahead and see how Trump coin is going. Seeing if it's pumping or dumping on the news leading up to the inauguration. Okay, so it is stabilizing around the mid $40 mark. It's go ahead and bring it up here. It's $48 at the moment, down from $75. So we did see there was definitely some insider selling. Go ahead and adjust myself here. When you can see this big sell-off here around 8:05 a.m., where it plummeted from $74 to $50 in about 25 minutes. Okay, I'll go ahead and see if there's any other breaking stories. They're going to be moving Trump's inauguration to insiders, probably because they're worried there's going to be some assassination attempts, which I think is a smart move. Definitely a smart move. go ahead and see what's happening with the Asia markets that are just opening now. Go ahead and bring this up here. So TikTok restoring US service after Trump provides assurance. Asia markets open higher ahead of Trump inauguration. So you can see the ASX is up. That's the Australian stock market is up around 0.4%. I'll go ahead and adjust it here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. The Nifty 50 though is down 0.5%. India is staring at an oil shock as US sanctions on Russian crude loom. Let's see what some of the top stories are here on CNBC. So Trump draws thousands to Washington rally for pre-inauguration victory lap. So Trump vowed to declare a national energy emergency as soon as he takes office, and how he might do it. Let's have a quick look here. So President-elect Trump told voters that he would slash the energy bills by declaring a national energy emergency on day one of his administration. Let's see if that works out. They were energy independent when he was in office, but then Biden quickly ruined that. It was unclear what authorities Trump might invoke, but presidents have broad discretion to declare emergencies and face little pushback from courts. Trump is expected to issue a new series of executive orders to reverse Biden administration energy policies. We all saw what happened in 2021 and 2022. Energy prices and gas prices went up through the roof. TikTok owners from Singapore. That's right. Yeah, he is from Singapore, but it is a Chinese company. And I don't think it's a benefit for the US. We've seen attention spans in the US continue to plummet since TikTok has come out. So that's the breaking stories for this morning. Thank you guys for watching the live stream. It's been great to have you here. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do market open time, so morning New York time around 9 a.m. Eastern, or if I'll do market close live streams. I'll see what works best for you guys. What do you guys think? Should we do 9 a.m. Eastern time, or should we do market close time in the evening? I'll see what you guys say in the chat. So Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m., or would you prefer 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? So for my Australian viewers, that's quite late. 9 a.m. is 1 a.m. in Australia, where market close closes 8 a.m. at the moment, so 4 p.m. So 5 p.m. would be 9 a.m. Australian time. Alan wants market open. Well, hey, we could get a little crazy. We could do both. We'll see. We can try both market open, market close, and see what streams perform the best. When am I launching my own meme coin? Hey, if Trump can own his own meme coin and make billions of dollars, maybe I'll launch my own holy flippity flop flapping smokes meme coin and make a few million. Who knows? It's all for the memes, isn't it? All for the laughs. ET Energy Transfer, 6.5% div. 8:30 a.m. Texas time. Yeah, I'll try experiment with the mornings and the evenings to see what works best for you guys. But I do really love in doing these live streams where I can interact with you guys live. It's something different, mixes up from the videos. And what I'm thinking of doing is, for example, this was a 2-hour live stream. So I'll find out what were the most popular stories from this live stream, and I'll go ahead and make individual videos, because not everybody wants to come back and watch a full 2-hour live stream. Some people do. Maybe you'll play the live stream while you fall asleep or you're doing chores around the house. But I'll take clips of stories from the video. So, for example, the one I did on the housing market, stories we did with Trump's rally, I can go ahead and just put that up in an individual video so you guys can watch the topics that you like. Who's better party for Australia? Well, the thing with Australia is Labor and Liberal are very, very similar. Now, I do like what Peter Dutton is doing, where he's trying to not be extremely woke like the Labor Party. He's starting to take some stances on the radical woke policies or left-leaning policies like the Labor Party is. But traditionally, Labor and Liberal have been pretty similar. It's just that Labor traditionally has worked for the working class. Liberal has been more pro-business, deregulation. Labor's more regulation. Labor's more left-leaning. But in Australia, even the Liberals have been pretty left-leaning. So we'll have to see how Pete Dutton goes, if he ends a lot of the crazy wokeness that's happening in Australia. If he reduces taxes for the working class, we'll have to see. So yes, Isaac, you did miss out, but you can always rewatch the live stream, and I will be uploading some videos. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. You're all awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.